بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله سبحانه وتعالى وخير الهدى هدى رسولنا محمد بن عبد الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه تسليما كثيرا. From the reoccurring issues, Khwani, that come up over and over again, and it is a prevalent issue that we have within our communities, and there is an aspect of it that there is some differences of opinion, but the issue seems to be quite clear, and I don't think we can ever get enough of touching this particular issue in giving advice to ourselves and to our relatives, especially those from amongst them who are not grounded in their aqeedah. People who don't necessarily know the importance of being practical in holding on to the rope of Allah and making a tawakkul on Allah. As He mentioned in the Quran, وَمَن يَتَوَكِّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. Anyone who relies on Allah, Allah is enough for him. Allah is enough for him. Prophet told us sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, وَلَوْ اجْتَمَعَ الْإِنسُ وَالْجِنُّ عَلَى أَنْ يَنْفَعُوكَ بِشَيْءٍ لَمْ يَنْفَعُوكَ إِلَّا بِشَيْءٍ قَدْ كَتَبَهُ اللَّهُ لَكَ وَلَوْ اجْتَمَعُوا عَلَى أَنْ يَضُرُّوكَ بِشَيْءٍ لَنْ يَضُرُّوكَ إِلَّا بِشَيْءٍ قَدْ كَتَبَهُ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكَ. If all of the jinn and all of the human beings were together to benefit you, to get you the job, to help you to have a child, if they all came together to assist you, they will not be able to assist you except with that which Allah Azza wa Jal has wrote for you, what was decreed for you. And in contrast, if they came together in order to harm you with anything, they will not be able to harm you except with that thing that Allah Ta'ala has written in the qadr. That thing is already written, maktoob, in the lawh al-mahfuz. It's not going to miss you because it was meant to hit you. So unfortunately, Akhwani, where we come from, Pakistan, in Africa, many parts of the Arab world, places where we come from, the religion of our women, the religion of our elders, the religion of many of the Muslims is predicated and built upon khurafat. It's not built upon yaqeen, surety and certainty, and it's not built upon al-ilm, knowledge. And if there's anything that we have to really be serious about more than everything else, is we have to be serious about the issue of our aqeedah. There's nothing more important to the Muslim, to Bani Adam, than what he believes in as it regards to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what he does, who he is, what he doesn't do, and so forth and so on. So we have to rely on Allah. When those people gathered together against the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in order to extinguish the light of Al-Islam, the companions saw the situation. They didn't revert to the khurafat and the shirk that their forefathers left them. They used to practice khurafat and shirk. During the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he found the people doing shirk and khurafat and the things that they believed in when they wanted to get help. So sometimes the companions, after embracing Al-Islam, may Allah be pleased with all of them, something would happen to one of them and they would say something that was from shirk, something that was from khurafat. The Prophet's son Ibrahim would die. He died. And then there was an eclipse. That is an extraordinary occurrence. That is a big issue, especially in the Arabian Peninsula. But anywhere on the face of the earth, if an eclipse were to happen, it's something that's going to attract the attention of the people. So the people looked at that situation from the companions, and they said, this eclipse happened because of the death of Ibrahim. During this time, if something were to happen like that and we didn't have any dalil to explain to us the reality of the eclipse, then I think a lot of people, if the eclipse were to happen and the Islam didn't say anything about what the eclipse, the reality is, then you will see people doing all kinds of things. And that ijtihad of the companions, the eclipse happened because of the death of Ibrahim, you can see why they would say something like that. He's a great personality, a great ruh. He's the ibn of the khatam of the anbiya and the rusul. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But the Messenger of Allah did not leave them believing in that khurafat. He didn't take advantage of them the way many people who teach the people today take advantage of the people. He put the record straight. He said it straight. And he let them know that the sun and the moon are ayats from the ayat of Allah. They do not eclipse for the birth or the death of any man. They are ayat of Allah, pointing to Allah. Allah, not any human being. Human being doesn't have anything to do with the eclipse of the sun or the moon. So because they are ayat from the ayat of Allah, when it happens, then turn to Allah and make salat. When it happens, turn to Allah, the creator of the sun and the moon, and make dua. Be afraid of the adab and the iqamah of Yawmul Qiyamah that is going to be established. So the point is that the companions used to make some mistakes in these babs, in these issues, but the Prophet would set it straight, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. Now if that was the case back then, we don't have the Messenger of Allah as such with us right now, especially in light of the fact many people don't know his sunnah. Many of us don't know the details of his sunnah. So as a result of that, there's ignorance that's prevalent. So the people, they build their religion upon superstition, khurafat, relying on other than Allah. What I call the hocus pocus religion. The crystal ball religion. The real crystal ball religion. There are Muslims who believe in the crystal ball. And if you can sell them a ball that when you shake it up like the snow moves around in it, and you tell them this is going to happen and that's going to happen and it means this and the harakat means that inside of the crystal ball, they will actually believe what you're saying. They will actually believe it. But the people of the Tawheed, from the very early stages of his life, they connect themselves to the Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we rely on Allah. When those people came against the Messenger of Allah and the companions, those companions said, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is enough for us. We don't know what's going to happen. Maybe we're going to come out on the losing side. Maybe we're going to come out on the winning side. Maybe we're going to kill our enemy. Maybe we're going to be killed by our enemy. We don't know. Hasbunallah. Whatever Allah decreed is enough for us. Wa ni'mal wakil. And Allah is He's the one, the perfect one to rely on. He is enough as a wakil. He's enough to be responsible for you. So this issue that we're going to bring to your attention, it is an issue of ikhtilaf in one angle. It is an issue of ikhtilaf in one angle. But even that ikhtilaf is one of those issues that the principle of usul-fiqh, it applies. And that principle is, when you're in doubt about something, then leave the thing that's doubtful. Leave it to save yourself. There's ikhtilaf. One thing says do it. The other opinion says don't do it. And if it's a dangerous issue, then leave it alone. Leave it alone altogether. This way you won't have any problem whatsoever. Leave what you doubt for what you do not doubt. Leave what you doubt for that thing which you do not doubt. There's no clear hadith in it. There's no ayat in it. Then leave that thing. Leave it. And that is the issue that we spoke about the other day. And although it was pretty quickly, nonetheless, I thought that the issue was pretty clear. But you still have people who want to argue. No problem. I gave the individuals who are here today, from that day until this day, Tuesday, to just bring the dalil. And then if you bring that dalil from this seat right here, I'm going to tell the community what I said was incorrect, and what is correct is this other position because of the dalil. I don't have any problem with that. But here we are 2 days later, and the dalil is, it has been narrated that Imam Ahmed did this with his son, with one of his children. With all due respect to you and to Imam Ahmed, who is one of the Imams of Islam, Imam Ahmed, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i, Imam al-Bukhari, these ulama of Islam, they are guideposts for us. They help us to understand the religion, but they are not the religion. They are not the religion. They are guideposts, shining lights, that when you travel in this journey to the hereafter, what they wrote, what they said, their positions, they help to illuminate the street for you. But they are not the illumination. They're not the nur that Allah sent down in the Quran. They're not the nur. They're not the nur that comes to us from the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who told the people, I left you on the muhajjat al-bayda. I left you on the clear proof. Clear as night is like as day. So we have to be careful. When people ask you for the proof, where's the dalil? Don't say, Al-Imam so-and-so said, that's the dalil. That's not a dalil. That's one of the ways in which you can cause your position to get some weight. But that's not a dalil with any scholar in Islam. Any scholar. Not even Abu Bakr. Where's the dalil? Abu Bakr said it. Abu Bakr said it. We have to look at Abu Bakr, whether or not he said that based upon an ayat or a hadith. We have to look at, did Abu Bakr say that thing, and it's in the issues of aqeedah. He said it from himself, and it's in the issue of aqeedah. Then that's a dalil, because we have to follow what Abu Bakr said when it's being consistent with what the religion is saying. But Abu Bakr is like everyone else, radiyallahu anhu. He gets it correct and he gets it incorrect at times. So the dalil is not Imam Ahmed. There are a number of books I want to mention very quickly for those brothers or that brother that some of the ulama used to write. They're called the Kutub al-Masail, the books of the issues, Kutub al-Masail, where the student would sit with the sheikh and he would ask the sheikh many questions. What about this? What about that? And what about this? And he would write down what the sheikh said. After the death of the sheikh, this book would become famous as the Masail of Al-Imam Ahmed, for an example. Al-Imam Ahmed sometimes would just say about an issue, if he was questioned, he would say, I don't like that. What do you think about this and that? He'll say, I don't like it. I wouldn't do it. What do you think about the person who says Eid Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem? Al-Imam Ahmed said, I wouldn't initiate it, but if someone said it to me, I'll say something back. He didn't say Allah said, Prophet Muhammad said. Those are called the books of Al-Masail. Al-Imam Ahmed has a number of them. His son, Abdullah ibn Ahmed, he wrote one of the most famous ones, where he would ask his father all kinds of issues in fiqh, all kinds of issues in aqeedah, all kinds of issues, all kinds of questions in the mu'amalat. Imam Ahmed would give his opinion. Sometimes he gives the Quran, sometimes he gives the Sunnah, sometimes he gives his opinion. Sometimes he gives different opinions. He'll say yes over here and he'll say no over here, for one reason or another. Another famous scholar who mentioned this is what was brought in the book today. There's a great scholar who was from the students of Imam Ahmed, Ibn Hani. Famous book, the Masail of Ibn Hani to Imam Ahmed. Famous book. So it appears that what was mentioned is in that book. I don't know the authenticity of it. I don't know. I have that book, but I don't know. Is it authentic, not authentic? But for me, you can't bring to me and tell me it was mentioned in this book that Imam Ahmed's son did it, and I say, that's my deen, I'm going to do it. That's not my deen. I have to go back and I have to research now, and especially if the thing that is being claimed was done by Imam Ahmed appears to go against the Quran and the Sunnah. And knowing Imam Ahmed and how he was in Aqidah, it suggests that this is something funny. But it could be, for the sake of argument, is in his book. The Masail of Ibn Hani. There's a book like that. That book is not revelation from Allah. Al-Imam al-Hafidh al-Karmani, great scholar from the Hanabila, he has a book, Masail of al-Imam Ahmed. Ya Imam, what do you think about the individual who wants to make the Hajj and he goes past the miqat to go to another miqat? What should he do? And Imam Ahmed gives his opinion. You could take it, you could reject it after looking at the dalil. So what was claimed and what was brought to me here is that Imam Ahmed used to put on his son, used to put on one of his children the Taweez. He used to put on one of his children the tamima. He used to tie on his child the tamima to protect the child from the evil eye. It could be, I don't know. First thing I'm going to say is, it doesn't seem to be the case, but Allahu Alam. I can't emphatically state that that didn't happen and that's not authentic. But I'm going to be forced to say, the tamima, if that did happen, that Imam Ahmed put on his child, the tamima is the tamima that doesn't have shirk in it, like the tamima of the Quran. Like the tamima of the Quran. Those people of the past, some of them, were of the opinion that the tamima, if it's from the Quran, if it's from the asma of Allah, if it's from the asma of Allah, then it was okay. Some people have that opinion. So that's what I'm going to say, the interpretation, if that is true with Imam Ahmed. Because I don't know if his position was, it was permissible to do a tamim of the Quran. I don't know that from the top of my head without going to investigate it. But that's what I'm going to say is the interpretation. So we'll go back and we'll look for that and we'll see what the deal is. Let me just say, Ikhwani, that there is no doubt with the ulama of al-Islam, there is no ikhtilaf concerning the ulama of the Sunnah, that the tamima of his shirk is not permissible. There's a ruqya of the shirk and the ruqya of Islam. The ruqya of his shirk is not permissible, and the ruqya of al-Islam is permissible. The Prophet told us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inna al-ruqa wat-tama'im wat-tiwala shirkun. Ruqya is shirk, and the tamima is shirk, and a tiwala is shirk. A tiwala are the love potions that people put on one another, and they are true. A person wants to have his wife to love him more. She wants her husband to love her more. The mother wants the son to love her more than he loves his wife, his own wife, her daughter-in-law. There are magic potions you can put on people. We believe in that because the Prophet mentioned this, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Tiwala, it's real. The Prophet said that it is a form of shirk. In the authentic hadith, he told us about riba. He said, riba, 73 baban, والشرك مثل ذلك. Riba is 73 different branches, different levels of riba. Riba is when you do money. It's different types of ways you could do riba with money. Riba is when you talk bad about your brother behind his back. That is the arba, bab riba. Istitalat al-rajul fi ird akhihi. The biggest form of riba is for a person to talk about his brother in his honor, saying bad things about him. This is a form of riba. 73 different branches. He says shirk is like that as well. There are different kinds of shirk. Slaughtering for other than Allah. Swearing by other than Allah. Person just outright disbelieving and making shirk and partners with Allah. One of the branches of his shirk is these three things. Potions, magic potions, as well as a ruqya, as well as the issue of the tamima. So 2 points we want to make before we get to what we want to deal with here, inshallah, is that this hadith shows us that al-ruqa, which is the plural of the ruqya. Some ruqya is shirk. When you get these potions that these people give you, and you mix them up, and you burn them, and they have different gibberish written on it, and they turn into ashes, you drink it, you eat it, you put it in your food, that's shirkun billah. The kalam that the Sufis teach their murideen. He teaches the murid kalam, that shaitanic kalam, They even mention shaitan's name and things like that. And they make ruqya with that, trying to cure people with that hocus pocus kalam. That's shirkum billah. Not all of it, depending upon what they say. Like what we hear many times coming from the Asian community when they praise Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What's that thing called when they do that? When they praise the Prophet in those songs, they always do it. What is it called? Yeah. Nar? Not. This kalam. A lot of that kalam is shirkun and kufr because they go overboard in what they're saying. So some ruqya is shirkun billah, and just as some ruqya is shirkun billah, the person who wants to make a tamima, there's that tamima that's no doubt shirkun billah. So the issue that we want to address here is what we mentioned before, and just to elaborate a little bit more, ikhwani, not to fight anybody and not to prove supremacy or authority over anyone, but to give you brothers advice about the importance of having a tawakkul on Allah, relying on Allah, and doing the things that the Prophet taught us to do in order to save ourselves from the evil eye. Because the tamima is called tamima, and the word in Arabic tamam comes from this word. The Arabs called it tamima because they used to believe this was the most perfect thing to protect you from the evil eye. If you tie something on yourself, on the children especially, to protect the child or the individual from the evil eye, there's no doubt that the tamima of shirk is haram, but there are differences of opinion. Is it permissible for the Muslim to take the Quran and to use it as a tamima? As I mentioned the other day, and I repeat and I'll elaborate a little bit more, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ made all forms of tamimas haram. If you look at what he said, including in what he said, it appears, and Allah knows best, that he did not make any exceptions. Not one exception. Not one. Not a single exception. No one's going to bring a hadith that was abrogated. No one is going to bring a hadith in which a companion practiced it the other way, which will give us an indication that maybe it's something we can do. But the people bring ijtihad. The scholars who we love and honor and we respect, we don't put them down for their ijtihad. They're ulama, and they'll get their reward for their ijtihad. But for the one who wants to be safe, then this is something that should be avoided. He told us sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, man ta'allaqa shay'an wukila ilayhi. Man ta'allaqa shay'an wukila ilayhi. Or wukila ilayhi. Anyone who ties something on himself to protect himself, tamima. Anyone who ties something on himself, he will be caused to rely on that thing. If he ties something, that's a general statement. As the Arabic language said, هذه الجملة نكرة في سياق الشرط. من تعلق شيئا وكل إليه. Anyone, condition. Anyone who ties something on himself, something on his car, something on his house, something on his baby, in order to protect himself, then he will be forced to rely on that particular thing. So when you have the nakira in the siyaq of the shart, it means that it's general. Tufidul umum is general. It includes everything. Everything. So the Prophet here, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did not make any exception. If you tie the Quran on yourself, then that thing that you are tying on yourself, that's the thing that you're going to be forced to rely on, and not Allah Azza wa Jal, but that particular thing, because he didn't make any exception. Not only that, ikhwani, he made dua against the people who did that. He made dua against the one who ties the Quran or anything other than the Quran. قال صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وسلم من تعلق تميمة فلا أتم الله له ومن وضع وضعة فلا وضعه الله. Anyone who ties a tamima, Quran other than Quran, anyone who ties it, may Allah not complete his issue. لا فلا أتم الله له. A dua. may Allah not complete the thing that he's trying to get, the thing that he's trying to protect himself. He made a dua against him. And whoever puts a wada'a on, the wada'a is a pearl that the Arabs used to take out of the ocean. It's a special type of pearl that they would get out of the ocean. If they got that pearl, it meant something big. Like today, people put in the cat's eye or around their neck, believing that the eye of the cat will protect you. People believe that today. That if you can tie the eye of the cat, you wear a certain ring, especially the one with the cat's eye, that will ward off evil. That's a wada'. The Prophet said, anyone who puts this thing on, may Allah Ta'ala put him down. Put him down. So how is it possible that the person can come now and say that this is a simple affair if the Prophet ﷺ made dua for the individual not to have his affairs completed? 10 people came to Rasulullah ﷺ. They embraced Islam. They came to give him the bay'ah. He took the bay'ah from number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When he went to number 10, he saw on the 10th man's hand the tamima. The tamima. He said, I'm not giving him the bay'ah. They said, why, Ya Rasulullah? Why aren't you giving him the bay'ah? He said, I'm not going to give him the bay'ah because if he died with that thing on him, he'll die on shirk. He'll die on shirkum billah. The Prophet didn't say, is it from the Quran? Is it not from the Quran? Is it from the names of Allah? Is it not from the names of Allah? He doesn't make those kind of rulings just like that. It's a possibility that the man has a particular type of tamima. That is okay. It's the tamima of the Quran. He didn't ask any of those questions. He said, if he dies with this particular thing on him, he die on shirkum billah. The man took it off immediately. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave him the bay'ah. Gave him the bay'ah. Because that thing goes against the tawheed that he used to take the bay'ah upon. First thing he would take the bay'ah from the people, he would take the bay'ah that you don't make shirk with Allah. He would take the bay'ah that you don't murder anyone. He would take the bay'ah for this and that and this and that. But the first thing, the most important thing, I take the bay'ah from you that you don't make shirk with Allah in any of the 73 chapters of babs of his shirk. The great scholar of Al-Islam, and if a person is Hanafi, as we mentioned a number of times, if he's really Hanafi, and he's not Hanafi just based upon Asabiyah and Hizbiyah, he's a fanatical Hanafi or other than Hanafi, but we're talking about the Hanafi right now. Scholar, man has knowledge of hadith. His name is Zahid al-Kawthar. This man is knowledgeable in hadith. But he's a Jahmi. And they call him Majnoon Abu Hanifa. Like some of you heard of the man Majnoon Layla. Majnoon Layla. The lady from Baghdad who the man was really Majnoon for her. The person like today, he loves a lady so much that he'll walk in front of the train to get hit by the train because she doesn't want to marry. There are people who are like that. The Arabs call that individual who to that degree is crazy about a particular thing. They call him Majnoon Layla. This man is Majnoon Abu Hanifa. If the thing goes against the madhab, the Quran and the Sunnah goes against the madhab, they will claim that the hadith is abrogated. The hadith is weak. The ayat is abrogated. The ayat has another interpretation. It's not only Hanafis. But I'm mentioning this because of what happened and who it happened with. If the person is truly Hanafi, then he has to know the position that Abdullah ibn Mas'ud played, the role that he played in the development of the Hanafi madhab. And that Abdullah ibn Mas'ud taught the companion or the tabi'i who we want to mention right now. His name is Ibrahim al-Nakha'i. Ibrahim al-Nakha'i is from the major tabi'in. Ibrahim al-Nakha'i taught many of the shuyukh of al-Imam Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa didn't meet those companions. He didn't narrate from those companions. He saw Anas ibn Malik, but he wasn't a student of Anas ibn Malik. He learned from the people who learned from the tabi'in. From them, he learned from the man Hamad ibn Abi Sulaiman. Great scholar in Islam. He was directly responsible for a lot of Imam Abu Hanifa's advancement in knowledge. That man took from Ibrahim al-Nakha'i, who took from Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. So the fiqh of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, it trickled down into the Hanafi madhab in many instances. And that's why today you'll find there are only the Hanafis who will practice certain sunnahs that nobody else is practicing. I've been to that masjid over here on Coventry Road where those Bangladeshi brothers are, our Muslim brothers. They don't make the adhan at the minbar. They have the microphone over there. The mu'adhin makes the adhan from over there. You'll find that in some of their masjids. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he was adamant about that. That the adhan at the minbar is an innovation. You go into their masjid, that's there. Do they know it or not? Allahu alam. As I mentioned before, the Hanafi people, they practice that sunnah of after making Salatul Isha, praying the nafil prayer, the tanafful, yatanaffal al-rajul. He'll pray the sunnah prayer sitting down on his knees without getting up. Because the Prophet did that. And he wasn't sick. He just sat on his knees and he remained and he did 2 rak'ah. You'll only find that from the Ahnaf. You don't find that in any other masjid. That's the trickle-down effect of the fiqh of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu. Anyway, akhwani, from his students is Ibrahim al-Nakha'i. Ibrahim al-Nakha'i said about Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and his students, كانوا يكرهون التمائم التي كانت من القرآن ومن غير القرآن. They used to, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and his students, they used to hate the tamima, whether it was the tamima from the Quran or other than the Quran. From the Quran or other than the Quran. So Abdullah ibn Mas'ud used to make it haram on the people. And you don't find a companion on the other end saying it's okay. You don't find anything authentic like that. Abdullah ibn Abbas was against it. You find those narrations established for them. The Musnad of Imam Ahmed and the Musannaf of Imam Abdul Razzaq, Ibn Abi Shayba. You'll find those narrations. You're not going to find the authentic narration showing the contradictory position, the other side. There is a statement, as we mentioned, that said that Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As was of the opinion that it was permissible and he used to put it on his children. Now, if that were true, we would have to take it easy and say, you have a companion, so let us pay attention to that. But that narration is not true. It is not true. Why do the people insist on holding on to those things? He's drowning and you just mention things. Al-Imam al-Suyuti said it. Al-Suyuti said it. Al-Imam al-Suyuti is a big scholar in Islam. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But Al-Imam al-Suyuti has been criticized for taking some positions that are at times at odds with the authenticity of the hadith and even with the ayahs of the Quran. And he's a mujtahid, and we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask Allah to give Al-Imam al-Suyuti his just due, his reward. Forgive him for his mistakes and forgive us, and give him the one reward when he made it wrong. So we're not here criticizing Al-Imam al-Suyuti or any scholar, but again, the truth is what the Prophet brought sallallahu alaihi wasallam from the Quran and his authentic sunnah. The last issue, ikhwani, from what I understand about this particular point, is that when the Arabs, as I mentioned before, they used to travel, they used to tie on their animals just like the people today tie the rabbit's foot, Ayatul Kursi, and other issues like that. They used to tie things on their animals, and the Prophet ﷺ would send someone out and tell them, you go, and you make an announcement to everyone that anyone who has tied something on his animal, don't let the animal come with us. Either take it off, or you and your animal stay behind. Either take it off, or you and your animal stay behind. And the last thing that we want to mention is to why we say it's not permissible. And that is, you put the tamima on the child. You put the tamima on yourself. And you go into the bathroom. Would anyone take the Quran and just go into the bathroom like the non-Muslims do? You go to the hotels in America, and almost every hotel, there is a Bible in the room and a Bible in the bathroom, along with other magazines. so that when they do their qada, their haja, akramakumullah, wa tahharallah iyamakum, when they go and take care of answering the call of nature, they're in there reading the Bible. Is it conceivable that the Muslim to that level, he's going to read the Quran? Every Muslim is going to have a problem with that. What's the difference with going into the bathroom with the Quran in your hand and having the Quran on your neck, or ayat of the Quran on your neck? What's the difference? And you'll find the Muslims, ikhwani, practicing the weak hadith that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on his ring was Muhammad Rasul Allah. So when he used to go into the bathroom, he would take his ring off and put it in his mouth. He would take the ring off and put it in his hand. Those hadith are not authentic, but why do people use it? They use them to show how the Muslim respects the name of Allah. Allah. He doesn't go into the bathroom with books about Islam, magazines about Islam. He doesn't do that. The little baby has the Quran on his neck, and the baby is slobbing all over the place. He's drinking the milk, and the milk is all over the Quran. Is that the way they treat the book of Allah? No, it's not the way. We have to have etiquette. So the Prophet prohibited the people sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, لا يسافرن أحدكم إلى أرض العدو بالمصحف. Don't carry the Quran to the land of the enemy. I say this, ikhwani, and you know our minhaj in this masjid is that we have to make al-amr bil ma'ruf and al-nahy anil munkar with the rules and regulations. But we should always have our sensitivities connected to our deen. Even when we make al-amr bil ma'ruf and al-nahy anil munkar, we're not going to do crazy things. But our sensitivity still has to be there. We have to become angry when they draw pictures of Rasulullah. We're not going to go and kill people over that, but we're still going to be moved by that. They're going to have some national Burn the Quran Day. I don't know, you guys aware of that? Burn the Quran Day. A day in which they're going to burn the Quran. Muslims have more respect for the Bible, although we don't believe that it is the kalam of Allah like it used to be. It's been altered. We're not going to go and burn their book because they burnt our book. And the sensitivities, and I tell you, your relations and your relatives back in Pakistan, especially Pakistan, they always get upset and go overboard in Pakistan. With this latest political problem that happened, they were going crazy out there because the Prime Minister here said that those people over there are practitioners of terrorism. They themselves are being killed. They're suffering from terrorism. The Muslim Pakistani public, the general public are suffering. And the man goes and says that they're responsible for it. They're helping it. And our own people are being killed. So the people got upset and they made a mudahara, they made a protest, and they wrote the letter loose lips or something, and they spell loose wrong. All the time they write those kinds of things. I don't know why. They don't get people who can spell, at least spell correctly. But the point is, we are sensitive. We're not going to go out there and demonstrate and march, but we don't like that statement. That statement was politically incorrect. We lost relatives, and our relatives lost their lives and limbs. What are you talking about? We're suffering from that. So the point is, we have to be sensitive. They want to burn the Quran because it's kalam of Allah. Okay, what's the difference? They burn the Quran and disrespect it and desecrate it, and we take it and bring it in the hammam. We bring it in the bathroom. And it's okay because it's for ruqya and it's for the tamima, the Taweez, and other than that. It's the same thing in my opinion, and Allah Ta'ala knows best. So this is an issue that should be avoided altogether. If Al-Imam Ahmad's son did it, then maybe Al-Imam Ahmad was of the opinion that the Quran that is being used as the tamima, maybe he's referring to that. But again, we have to establish the thing, and then after establishing it, we'll debate it, and we'll discuss it, and we'll reject it or accept it. But just like that, Imam Ahmad is not a dalil. He is not a dalil in the religion. He's a signpost, a guiding light, who helps us to understand the religion, but he can get it wrong and he can get it right, as he has done on different occasions. And he got it right more than he got it wrong, radiyallahu anhu. That's what we want to mention, ikhwani. If you want to mention anything here, you have another proof? Anyone has another proof? You want to enlighten us? This is not a challenge. This is just helping us to cooperate between ourselves, you can feel more than free to put that information before us, because we'll accept it. Or if you have any other questions, inshallah, for the next 10, 15 minutes. Fadli ya akhi kareem. Concerning the non-shirk of the ruqya, I think we should make the distinction here. That the Prophet did look into the ruqya of the Arabs, and he did allow that which didn't conflict with the deen. But the ruqya is one thing, and the tamima is another thing. And to make qiyas of the tamima and the ruqya is like making qiyas that milk is haram because crack is haram. Where are the similarities? Where are the similarities? Marijuana is haram because khamr is haram. Because there are similarities between the two. So you can make qiyas. So one of the issues that make people fall into innovation and stretch the religion out in its legislation is the bab of al-qiyas. The bab of al-qiyas. So Imam Ahmed, he used to say, I prefer the weak hadith before I use qiyas. And the weak hadith he meant here was the hadith that's hasan, not da'if, but the one that's lesser than sahih and is hasan. Because qiyas is a derivative when used properly from the Quran and the Sunnah. So we use the qiyas. No doubt about that. Qiyas is from the deen. But al-ruqya, reading on someone from what the Arabs used to say, that the Prophet ﷺ gave us the principle. If it's not from shirk, you can use it. The ruqya, reading on people. No problem. No problem. But tying something on yourself, even if it's the Quran and it's not shirk, the Quran is not shirk, but the ruqya is something, and the tamima and tying something on yourself is two different things. The second point, Akhi Kareem. What? Yeah. I hope it wasn't understood that the Prophet came to the man, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and saw with him a tamima made of the Quran. I see what you're saying. That the Prophet didn't say, does that have the Quran in it? Does it not have the Quran in it? So he said that in the hadith, didn't the man have some metal thing on him? And that's where the inkar came from. The Prophet knew what it was. He said, what is that? The man said, it's to protect me. And then he told him to take the particular thing off. That is the correct interpretation of the hadith. Naam, and the incident. Salam. Beautification. La. For the woman's jewelry, it's permissible for her to wear jewelry from the Quran and the Sunnah, and this has nothing to do with the issue of a tamima. It's from zina, from beautifying herself, and there's no problem. In Surah Al-Dhariyat, Allah Ta'ala mentioned أَفَمَنْ يُنَشَّأُ فِي الْحُلِيَّةِ وَهُوَ فِي الْخِصَامِ غَيْرُ مُبِينٍ, describing the condition of the woman. And the kuffar of Quraysh, they used to say that the malaika were the daughters of Allah. And some of them used to worship the malaika, believing they were the daughters of Allah. So Allah Ta'ala described the condition of the woman, and He said, is the one who grows up, meaning the woman, as she grows up beautifying herself, putting on jewelry, necklaces and hulya, necklaces, earrings, bracelets. She grows up. But when it comes to arguing, debating, she can possibly not be very clear, because there's some da'f in her aql, and that weakness has been explained in the authentic sunnah. So the shahid here is that the ayat of the Quran show that the woman grows up and she uses jewelry to adorn herself. And those sunnah show that she uses jewelry to adorn herself. So if she's wearing the cat's eye just for beautification, it is no problem. No problem. She doesn't believe in that khurafat. She just likes the way the cat's eye looks. She likes it. It's probably better for her to avoid it, but that's not her niyat. If she doesn't bring shubahat, so forth, so on, I believe that these issues are permissible. What about, as the brother mentioned, they have the Kaaba, or ayahs of the Quran. I think that this should be avoided altogether. Because Allah Ta'ala has mentioned why He revealed the Quran. He revealed it for the guidance of the people. He revealed it to establish the argument of the people upon the people. He revealed it as nur on the people. And He prohibited us in the Quran by saying, وَلَا تَتَّخِذُوا آيَاتِ اللَّهِ هُزُوًا. Don't play games and make jest with the ayat of Allah. They were not revealed for that type of thing. Putting the Quran on your body in a tattoo. The person wants to show his allegiance to Islam, so he puts Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And that proves that he is proud about his Islam. That's a desecration. Shouldn't do it. Aywa akhi, Jingir. Walaikum salam. I think it should be avoided, ikhwani. I think those issues should be avoided altogether. Allahu alam. My brother. You putting your hand up? Any more questions, ikhwani? Askar Saab. What do we do if we lose something? Somebody was lost. Oh. If a person loses something, he can't shout out, I lost this particular thing. But if you were to find something that was lost by somebody, can you shout out, I found this particular thing? No, because the masjid's sanctity prohibits that. The sanctity of the masjid prohibits that. The masjid is for the dhikr of Allah, for the tasbih, the takbir and the salat, and the recitation of the Quran. It's not for, as the Prophet said, qadaratun nas. It's not for the filth of the people, whether that filth is najasa, or their bad kalam, or their bad behavior in the masjid. So the individual should, if he were to find that particular thing, he announces it outside of the masjid. And as we mentioned in our class concerning this, there's a way of going about it. He doesn't have to pick it up and show the people. If it has monetary value to it, he just announces, puts up a poster or something like that, let the people know I found this thing, and the person who can come and describe it and its contents, if he does that, give it to him. If he doesn't do it, after the passing of a year, it's his property. It's his property, if it's of any significant monetary value. Wallahu a'lam. Yeah, it should be outside of the masjid. As for what happened the other day, some little boy was lost and he was overwhelmed by the fear of being lost. An announcement was made in the masjid, whose son is this? Someone's son is lost. someone came up and said, if something is lost in the masjid, you can't announce it. We said to the man, to the brother, Akhi, well, what do you expect? We're going to announce that a boy was lost and you have to come in for 1 year. If no one comes, we keep the boy. We have some weird situations, Ikhwani, wallahi, some weird situations. Let it be your son. Maybe his father thought that someone else was holding his son and he left. And they thought that the father left with the son and they left. So now we have to catch it right now, right away, because that's Bani Adam there. That's a human being now. Akhi, Adil. Say it again. As we mentioned, Khwani, stay away from the tama'im in all of the shapes, forms, and fashions. Turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're going to stop here. هذا وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Ismail, what's the deal with the brother about the Wasatiyah class? Then the next Monday, inshallah, is going to be Ramadan, right? How is your schedule, you guys? How is your schedule in Ramadan? All right, I need to find out what the schedule is with these people. Plus, I'm supposed to be going to Umrah in Ramadan, so I don't know how it's going to go. We're going to look at how, once they talk to me about the schedule. Here you go. Here's your pen. Khalid from Salam. How you doing, brother?